Jacob Burton here from culinary.com, and in this culinary Q&A, I have a question on when it's appropriate and not appropriate to use nonstick pans and cookware. So James W. from Dutton, Michigan writes, I don't often see professional chefs using nonstick pans, probably because of the heavy use one would get, resulting in more scratches and throwaways. However, for the home cook, do you have suggestions as to when to use a nonstick pan versus an all-metal pan? I have high-quality pans and can't seem to get the food I cook not to stick. Is there a video that addresses this? Well, yes, there's a video now. I'm creating it. So thank you so much for your question. Now, people need to realize that nonstick pans are just one of the it just plays one small part in your arsenal of tools that are available to you as a chef or a cook. Now, the purpose of nonstick pans are basically just thin pans that are coated with Teflon, and this Teflon coating prevents things from sticking to it as long as the coating is still in good condition. And so you always want to make sure that you're using rubber spatulas, never really metal spatulas or metal utensils when using your nonstick pans, because you're going to scratch the interior of the surface, you're going to remove some of that Teflon coating, and you're just going to ruin your pan. It's not going to be a nonstick surface anymore. So let's talk real quick about why you would actually use a nonstick pan. Nonstick pans are great for more delicate items, especially eggs, or anything that you're going to actually cook over medium to medium-high heat at the most. Now, what happens is Teflon itself will start to break down at high temperature, so you don't want to sear with it because it can actually give off toxic fumes when it is overheated. So putting it on a high flame or a high heat burner is not good, so you don't really want to sear with Teflon. Also, too, while Teflon is very, very good at keeping things from sticking to any given surface, it's a very poor heat conductor. So when using it to sear things, you're not going to get a nice crust like you would with a better heat conductor such as cast iron or a stainless steel pan. Now, the reason why a lot of times you have issues with sticking in your stainless steel pans or your cast iron pans is because they can be thin, right? So you always want to make sure you're using a heavy bottom pan, and you'll see a nice thick layer on the bottom of these pans. And if you watch any video that I use, or any video on Stellar Culinary where I'm using a stainless steel saute pan, you'll see that nice little cap on the bottom of the pan. And what happens is that gives extra heat retention. And so you can place the pan dry onto your stovetop, and you charge that with heat. And because it has that extra heat retention, there's not going to be as many cool spots or hot spots when an item is placed into the pan. It's going to retain its heat very well. Now, cast iron pans are kind of like the king of heat retention, which makes them great for searing, especially things like steaks or anything where you want to transfer a lot of heat really, really quickly. Now, cast iron pans were actually the original non-stick pans before Teflon was invented, and it used to be that these cast iron pans were kept separate from all the other pans, and these were used for cooking eggs in restaurants, because once you build up a nice seasoned coating for your cast iron pan, it's going to have a relatively non-stick surface. Now, some of the biggest issues I see with why items will stick to regular stainless steel saute pans is usually twofold. Number one is that the pan is not charged with enough heat before it is used. So you want to charge the pan dry, and when I say charge, it means just place it over a high flame, and this is assuming you're going to be sauteing or searing something or some form of high heat stovetop cooking. And what's going to happen is there's pores on the surface of your pan, in that metal, and these pores will start to open and close while the temperature of the pan is coming up. Now, once the pan gets nice and hot, usually around 350 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, those pores are going to start to close on you, and they're going to stay shut while that heat is maintained. So then, it's at that point when that pan is nice and hot that you want to add your cooking oil. And this way, the cooking oil is actually going to float on top of these pores and not soak into them. Now, if you heat a cold pan with the oil already into it, you're going to have issues with it sticking always. Now, also, too, don't be afraid of your cooking fat. You want to use enough to really coat the bottom of the pan, because it's going to be this fat that not only serves as a barrier between the item that you're cooking, but also fat is a really good heat transfer, right? So what happens when you place an item in a dry pan and you just lay it flat, the surface on a microscopic level of any item that you're searing, even if it looks flat, has all sorts of dips and valleys and pockets in it. And so when you lay it onto a dry pan or a pan that doesn't contain enough oil, you're going to have some areas that are in direct contact with the pan and other areas that are actually above the pan. And as that product heats, because it contains moisture, that moisture is going to turn into steam, and then there's going to be a steam pocket in that certain area, and so that and steam is going to act as that buffer, and it's going to lead to that one little pocket or that one little area to not browning correctly. So if you add enough oil to the bottom of your pan, which is again just enough to cover the bottom of the pan, then you're not going to have issues with sticking or with it not browning evenly while you're searing. So save your nonstick pans for low temp cooking applications like fried eggs or scrambled eggs, or you can even use them for frittatas in your oven. But save your high quality stainless steel cooking pans with that nice heavy bottom for your searing and sautéings, and make sure that you're charging them with plenty of heat and waiting for that heat to fully penetrate the pan before you're adding your cooking oil. If you have a culinary question of your own, shoot me an email, jacob@stellaculinary.com, or you can tweet me at Chef Jacob.